everyone. In this video, I am interested to talk about this book, and this book is 21 Lessons for 21st Century from Noah Harari. So Noah Harari is writing book recently, and maybe from 2013, 14, and then onwards. And these books are really good. I think he is a very amazing writer, very interesting, amazing writer, and he is highly talented. In my point of view, he is highly talented, one of the highly talented people. From different aspects, he writes books from different angles, and he is kind of to some extent a whole package when he writes something. He writes it from scientific point of view, he writes it from philosophic point of view, he writes it from other aspects as well. For example, you say technological point of view also. He has many unique features in his writing. For example, even I think he has very unique thoughts and new thoughts. So that's a very amazing part of his writing. When he writes about infotech and biotech, the way it will dominate the future, this is kind of intriguing. When he writes about the past, the history, that is also interesting because he writes it from different angles, different point of view, and he's really amazing in that. So recently I have read this book, and in this book he wrote actually there is 21 chapters, if you may call it, and 21 chapters for 21st century, this kind of book. So maybe not that I'm not sure. I mean, why it is 21 lesson? Why not 20 lesson? Why not 25 lesson? That there is that questions always for this kind of book. So there is like 7 rules for achieving your goals in life. Why 7? Why not 6? Why not 8? What makes it 7? This kind of rationale. Always there is that reason. So despite that thing, I think this is his book, so he can write about 20 lessons or 21 lessons or 25 lessons, whatever you want. So we have the contents, and I am interested to read the content because all these chapter names, because all these chapter names has a very fine-tuned quote with each chapter name. Number 1, which is chapter 1, delusionment, is within this delusionment he has the one very nice quote. This is called "The end of history has been postponed." Then in chapter 2, work, the quote is when you grow up you might have not a job. Then liberty, big data is watching you. Equality, those who own the data own the future. 5 number is community, humans have bodies. Civilization is 6 number. There is just one civilization in the world. Nationalism, global problems need global answers. Religion, God now serve the nation. Immigration, some cultures are better than the others. Terrorism, don't panic. War, never underestimate human stupidity. Humanity, you are not the center of the universe. You are not the center of the world. God, don't take the name of God in vain. Secularism, acknowledge your shadow. Ignorance, you know less than you think. Justice, our sense of justice might be out of date. Post-truth, some fake news lasts forever. Science fiction, the future is not what you see in the movies. Education, change is the only constant. Meaning, life is not a story. Meditation, just observe. So these are the 21 chapters. We define a nice quote. With quote means he wrote one very small sentence or fragment of sentence with that chapter name, which is kind of I think which is kind of a good idea to have the very concise, very precise indication where the chapter is going or what he is trying to mean in the whole chapters. So in the whole chapters. So that's the point. Now for the review, and once again I need to explain my point and weakness about this review. For example, when I make any review, I do it from my own point of view, and also maybe this is not the main agenda of the topic or the agenda of the chapters, but the thing that always interests me most, I always talk about that. And also some of the things that when people talk, I think this happens with you also, when you read some books, uh, not all the things interest you. There are a couple of things that you find very interesting, and then I think that is the most important thing for you. So same case for me. Sometimes when you read some books, you find these things you already know, and there are couple of things that is new to you, and there are a couple of just 2 3 4 ideas, or a couple of ideas, or 10 ideas which is completely new, and which is mind-blowing to you. So this kind of thing is same case for me, same true case for me. And so first thing that first thing that that is interesting in this book is, this is not any philosophic or any very important thing, but Noah Harari named my country Bangladesh in the book, and this is very amazing for me to find the name of my country in any book, especially in such a very super duper book, a super blockbuster, if you may call blockbuster book, because it's a bestseller book. And in his past book Sapiens also, I found the name of Bangladesh. Sapiens is one of the highest rated books, I mean highest, very very popular books, and which was translated more than 50 languages by now. So that book is, I have seen the name of Bangladesh in that book also, but in this book also I have seen the name of my country Bangladesh in couple of places. First I encountered the name in page number 38 and page number 32 in my capital name Dhaka, and my country name Bangladesh in at least 2 3 places in this book. So this is not like, oh, in the next page also I have this, in the page number 40 also I have the name of my capital here. And he was talking about the ready-made garments. I mean the US and other people is taking the ready-made garments from Bangladesh and the capital, and he was trying to make a point that people needs to look at the conditions of the garments factory, the way it is workers, and look at the conditions of the workers, the way people are getting paid, and their health issues and other things. So he was talking about that. I mean, this is very amazing to see when you see this kind of really high profile people also have the idea and thinking about your country and about your and they have really very right and to the point concern about this major deal. So in my point of view, this is good. This is a good thing to read in a book, and from a great, be a very very high profile author. This is a good thing when we get this kind of things. Anyway, so this point is, I mean, about my country and about my city. This is kind of personal, very personal. Like whenever I read any book, if I see, especially international book, if I see the name of my country or any people's name there, I feel very interested. That's a maybe this is I mean, maybe all people feels the same. For example, if somebody is from Rwanda, from African country, from let's say Egypt, or some other people, whenever they see, oh, this is my name, this is my city, I'm living here, so in this book they are talking about this, so they will also feel interested, or they will also feel a bit similar. Anyway, this is the thing. And in the page number, by the way, page number may not match with you, and I'm not sure if my page number is matching with you, and if this is the same page number everywhere, because I'm talking about the book, and this book is subcontinental printing, so it may vary a bit with the international printing. I'm not sure, or maybe this is same. This could be both. but I anticipate it. I anticipate some changes in the page number or in the alignment for some obvious reason. Anyway, or it could be same as well. So in the page number 45, I find some interesting thing, and oh, so in the page number 45, there is very interesting thing. This is Liberty chapter, and big data is watching you. You might as well call a nationwide plebiscite to decide whether Einstein got his algebra right, or let passenger vote on their which runway the pilot should land. This is kind of one of the major issues with the democracy. One of the major issues of the democracy. For example, if you already know, I'm a teacher, so and sometimes in my class, and I usually teach mathematics or physics, this kind of subjects. Whenever in the class, I do some confusing maths, and there are some maths when I know where people make mistakes, why students make mistakes. So, and whenever I formulate some maths, let's say this is the math, this is the question, and okay, solve it. So they do the solution. I say, like, don't tell the other answers to the others. They get the solution, and before I get the solution, I already know that they will come up with different answers, because this math is that kind of math. So whenever I ask, like, okay, what is your answer? Answer is this. What is your answer? Answer is this. What is your answer? Answer is this. So I get 3-4 different answers, and then I say, okay, let's vote about the answers. So let's say, okay, how many of you think that this answer is correct? So raise your hand. So I see they're raising their hands. I count it. Then I say, okay, how many of you think this answer is correct? So they're saying, okay, this student says this answer is correct. And many times, my point is, many times I found majority of the students is telling the wrong answer as correct, and many times, and of course, many times I found they say the right answer. But there are students who sometimes says the wrong answer correct as well. My point is, in mathematics, there cannot be like 2, 3, 4 different answers correct. There can be just only one answer correct. This is not possible in mathematics to have different answers correct. Like, your opinion is correct, your opinion is correct. This is not opinion. This is mathematics. This is physics. So the way it says, like, you cannot vote for, like, Einstein have done some algebra. You cannot vote for that, like, whether this algebra is correct or not, because if it is correct, it is correct. If it is wrong, this is wrong. So this is not kind of political point of view. Also, when a pilot is going to land on the runway, you cannot vote from the passengers which runway the pilot should land, because pilot is watching everything, and pilot knows which runway is best at this time, which runway is free at this time, and which runway is from the base station, what signal he is getting. So based on that, he will land. So this is not kind of democracy. Democracy is some kind of faulty. In the democracy has huge flaw in this sense, in this way. In page number 47, this is feelings. This is kind of feelings, and sometimes when you feel about some things. This is a new. This was new for me. Page number 47. In this page, he was trying to make a point about the feelings. Suppose sometimes we feel something good. Sometimes we feel like, okay, we feel that this people is good, this person is good, or we feel I love this girl, or I like this girl, or in some cases some people likes this man or woman. So from where this liking, from where this feelings comes at first, because even if we do not know enough information, we do not have enough information about that person, we intuitively feel that I like this one, or I am in love with this individual. So how it happens? And in many cases, and in most of the cases, I think this is my personal point of view. In most of the cases, you will see that your feelings was right. Most of the cases, like, even if you do the calculation, if you will see, suppose you have done this calculation and you felt at the first place you felt this one is good, and you will see in many cases, or in majority of the cases, you will see the feelings that you had in the first place was right. How come it is correct? How it is possible? I mean, how our feelings is so strong, or how come in the in the complete blank point of view, complete blank points of view, how come something is so correct without any? So he is trying to say in this page, like, uh, uh, feelings are biochemical mechanism that all humans and birds use in order to quickly calculate the probabilities of survival and reproduction. Feelings aren't based on intuition, inspiration, or freedom. Feelings are based on calculation. Then he says another thing: we don't feel the millions of neurons in the brain computing probabilities of survival and reproduction. So we erroneously believe that our fear of snakes and our choice of sexual mates, or our opinion about the European Union, are the results of some mysterious free will. So he is trying to make a point that when we have this feeling, basically at that time, when you feel something, basically our brain, our subconscious brain, our neurons there is subconsciously calculating all the probabilities of that incident. Then we feel that. When we feel something, that means our brain is highly calculating at the time all the probabilities at the time. Probabilities, like what is the possibility of getting this there, what is the possibility of getting this, that there, and that is kind of really amazing when you know that the probability, brain is calculating the probability of this whole thing. So feelings is not always like kind of intuition, like, okay, I feel that this is good. Basically, when you feel something, basically your brain or your mind has finished, actually brain it should be, has finished doing the calculation about that incident. So maybe it has done too fast, but it has done some calculation about that. So your feelings is not just a feelings. Your feelings is based on some calculation. So next time when you feel something, be confident about that, because feelings is a real thing. Feelings is not just like kind of funny thing. Oh, that is then another interesting thing. But first of all, I need to check one thing. Yeah, things are good. I mean, I was checking if my video is counting there. There is another thing here in the page number 49, and he is talking about the future of the health system. So future of the health system is kind of interesting, kind of funny, and because the way biotechnology is improving, maybe in the future you will know what is the problem, what is the disease your body is going to feel after 2 years. In advance you will know that. And also you will know all the problems in your body precisely. Currently we do not know that. When we feel the pain, then we know that this is the disease, but maybe the problem was existing from some longer period of time, but when the pain starts, then we feel it. So in the future we will see that this kind of disease and this kind of problems is long way before we will know that, and we will be because computerized biochip and other chips will monitor all these things and will tell us that this physical condition you have, and then this is your solution. So this is funny. But the thing that was funny here in this place, and the thing is, there is a problem with this, and the problem is, you know what, human beings, you and me, we all individual, we are always in some minor illness. Basically always we have some problem in our bodies, but we do not know, that's why we do not care. But when you will know beforehand, then you will start carrying it. When you go to the doctor, or when doctor says you have this problem, then you will start worrying about that. But before you went to the doctor, you actually haven't had any kind of worries about that. So the problem is when you know that you have this physical condition, you have this disease in your body, and this is gonna suffer you, then basically you will feel always worried, always you will be terrified about your diseases. So when biotech and infotech, when this should be biotech and okay, mix up. When this will be revolutionized, then at that time, basically instead of feeling good, many people will feel always bad because they will know all the things, all the secrets beforehand. So this is kind of funny. This advancement of the technology is putting us in some kind of trouble. In the page number 57 is a good, very good philosophical point. For example, he actually gave some examples here. I'm not sure. I'm not going to read all these examples from the book. This is kind of very intensely philosophical. Very intensely philosophical. Let's say you are in a car, and you have your mother in the car, and then all of a sudden you were going a bit fast. Then all of a sudden you saw some people on the road. Now you have two options: either go over them, or you go outside the road and kill yourself and your mother. What you will do? So maybe you are a very philosophical person, very ethical person, very talented and always honest, sincere, and very good in all sense. You are that kind of person. But at that time, what you do? So the answer is here. Up till now, this argument have had embarrassingly little impact on the actual behavior, because in times of crisis, humans all too often forget about their philosophical views and follow their emotional and gut instincts instead. That means, in time of crisis, people actually forgets about that. People do not remember their philosophy. People do not remember their all the good verses from books they read from other people. Let's say anyway, from wherever they get their philosophy, that kind of thing. At the time of crisis, people forgets it. Even if it is a very high profile person, whenever he is in crisis, he will forget his philosophy. He will start working from his intuition and from his instinct. He will study. Just emotion and instinct will start working at that point when he is in crisis, or when the system is in crisis. Then he gave another example to prove it, like from John Stuart Mill, about the trolley problems. So trolley problems also describes the same, explains and proves the same argument. Then in the page number, trolley problem is similar to the car problem that I said. Like if some pedestrian is coming with a trolley and you are in the car, so what you will do at this kind of thing. Then in different pages, in page 64, 65, then he was talking about the Palestine and Israel conflicts, and he is saying that big data he is saying, like, already today, whenever Palestinians make a phone call, post something on Facebook, or travel from one city to another, they are likely to be monitored by Israeli microphones, cameras, and drones or spy softwares. The gathered data is then analyzed with the aid of big data algorithm. This helps the Israeli security forces to pinpoint and neutralize the potential threats without having to place too many boots on the ground. I didn't know that, so this was interesting for me. Then he gave one example also where this kind of situation happened in real world, where they are actually doing practicing this kind of thing, and they knows the movements, every movement there by using the technology. But there is some kind of implication of that as well, and that is now Israeli people, this security system is watching all the Palestinians' phone calls and movements, and when they move from one city to another. So he said, Noah tried to make this point that in future maybe all the people will be monitored that way. Maybe there is a possibility that all the people will be monitored that way. So because actually at currently also all the peoples are kind of in some sense many people are monitored this way. For example, when I'm making this video at this point, I have my cell phone here, my video recorder here, my television, all the things is around, and Google actually knows where I am now, right? Google actually knows because I'm using the service from Google, and because I've seen some application here, and Google is saying in this month you traveled this city, you traveled this kind of kilometers. So that means Google knows where I am. Also, Google knows what I'm searching. Google knows my interest. So basically, Google knows all the thing what I'm doing here. And so, especially in the Android and this kind of smartphones, whatever we do, they have the data. So they actually collect all this data. So they knows about me, and so they are already watching us. And I think in the future this will be much more magnified, and this will be done in some serious way. Then this is some kind of political issue, political system in the page number 79, and the political issue is like he is giving some newer point of view to look at the situation, like the politician what they are doing. He is trying to say politicians are a bit like musicians, and the instrument they play on is the human emotion and biochemical system. They give a speech, there is a wave of fear in the country. They tweet, there is an explosion of hatred. So you see, the politician, when some political leader gives some speech, there is some wave of influence throughout the country, and there is some reflection about his or her political speech. Whenever he says something good, people feels good. Whenever he starts spreading the hatred, people starts feeling it that way. And so basically he is just playing with the people. The politician is just playing with the people, and this is kind of like some kind of musical instrument, and human beings are the chords, notes, and threads of this. Like when you have some guitar, these strings are human beings. So he is just playing with their emotions, the politicians. This is kind of interesting, and this is kind of, if you think for a while, for a couple of minutes, then you will feel this is kind of makes sense, and this is true because we have seen it. Like we have seen it from different aspects, like the different country. This is how the country works. This is how the political leader works. This is how they give their speech. This is how they control the people. People are very interesting. Yeah. Then in page number 112, he talks about the atomic bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, nuclear war thing, which is he talked about the outcome of that event, and before that event what happened. So we already know about that. Most of us we already know about that event. I'll talk about this a bit later, maybe if I can recall that, or if that's not like something new. I mean, in this video, my main goal is to talk about the thing which have put some influence in me. I mean, which is kind of new from either information sense or idea sense or different way to look at the situation. Sometimes I know it, but he saw it from different angles. So this is the objective. Hiroshima Nagasaki thing, atomic bomb thing is known to everyone, I think. Then in the page number 153, he actually questioned the if somebody he was trying to question, like, suppose if someone says that the Muslim culture is very intolerant, then he questioned, like, okay, this claim is true for Hazy. What do you mean by intolerant? Intolerant of whom? Of what? Our culture cannot be intolerant towards religious minorities and usual politics views. So he was trying to analyze it from every bit by bit, every point by point, and I think the way he is looking at the situation is very, very amazing, because when you ask questions from different angles, different point of views, then you see it actually what actually is happening. Sorry, then you see it actually what is going on, what is actually happening there. So this is good to ask the question. Then in page number 165, we have this this is kind of a bit cheap sentence. A small coin in a big empty jar makes a lot of noise. So a small coin in a big empty jar makes a lot of noise. That means this sentence is self-explanatory. So this sentence explains, and you can explain this sentence from different angles, and this is true for everywhere. Suppose I mean, even literally also this is true. You have big empty jar, and if you put a coin, and you will see this one coin is making huge noise. Whenever you have a lot of coins there, and then you will see the noise is less comparatively. I mean, comparatively the noise should have been hugely multiple of the number one, but it is not like that. Even if you can look at the situation when some people knows, when some people knows very little, you will see they speaks a lot. So also this is true for every case. This is kind of some kind of true case in many situations. So there is then the different types of war things. So war is kind of like he is giving the statistics of terrorism, and how many people died in different wars, and how many people died in terrorist attacks, and how many people died died for different diseases. He was trying to compare it, and he was trying to make a point that even most people is dying due to different disease, and then terrorist and different wars, then terrorist attacks. So, which is very, in statistics, in terms of statistical data, this is very insignificant. The number is very insignificant. He was trying to make the point that way. Then come to the ignorance chapter 15. So they say democracy is founded on the idea that the voter knows the best. Free market capitalism believes that the customer is always right, and liberal education teaches students to think for themselves. So this is another interesting thing. Democracy is founded on the idea that the voter knows the best. How do you know that the voter knows best? And which voter knows the best? In my point of view also, democracy is very weird system, but so far it is the best system. But this system has huge problem. In my point of view also, don't take it too literally, but all the people is not same. Even if you say that all the people is same, but all the people is not really same, because for example, even me, and if some really highly skilled professor from, let's say, Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Cambridge, or whatever you say, name it, I'm a teacher in some, I'm a just unknown person, but they, in terms of their work, in terms of their knowledge, in terms of their output, in terms of the influence they put for the entire civilization, that in one individual is definitely better than me. Is definitely me and that person is not same. My point is that, and also his opinion and my opinion is not same opinion. This should not be. You should not put these two opinion, his opinion and my opinion, in some equal place, in some same balance. We should not, this is not same. But democracy is a system which makes this same, which is insane, and I don't like it. Because suppose in my country, Dhaka University, Chittagong University, there are many professors there. In other Russia University, we have many university here, and in Kuwait, some professor in Kuwait, and me, I'm comparing with me, but I can compare it with some factory workers, some construction workers, some farmers, even if you say. When there is some national crisis, when there is some democratic system, when there is some nationwide vote, you see the person in some high super duper university and me both have one right to give one vote. So the vote that that person is giving, he is thinking a lot of things. When he gives some vote, when he puts his opinion, he thinks a lot of things, and his opinion, his thinking, his decision is coming from a huge amount of filters. But when I go to give the same vote, I do not think like him, because I do not have enough background data, background information. I do not know the methodology, how to think it correctly. But my vote and his vote is counted 1-1. So there is a huge loophole here, and things can go way more in the wrong direction due to this democratic system. That's why in the democratic system sometimes you will see there is some problem with the democratic system. This problem is really insane problem, because voter actually knows all the voters are not same, all the people are not same. I mean, in terms of naive and very flexible sense, that is true. All the people is same. All the people have their some unique identity. All the people is people. Everyone is human being. So in terms of that, we can say that everybody is okay, everybody is simple, everybody is similar, everybody should have the same kind of treatment. But the thing is, when it comes to the opinion, when it comes to the decisions, then I don't believe that everybody's decision, everybody's opinion it's same. I don't believe it. This is impossible. This is insane. For example, the university I am working, that university's, let's say, founder or university's vice chancellor's opinion and my opinion is not same, because they knows every tiny the best detail of the university, and I know only the system where I am working. Maybe they knows a lot of secret, so their decision will come from huge amount of calculation, considering all the secret of the university as well. All the different systems, different how the university runs. They will think about the financial thing, they will think about the administrative thing, they will academic thing, they will think about the people's feelings, they will think about the people's reflection, they will think about the university's outcome, university's future, they will think about tons of things. But what I will think what is good for that is specific within that rooms betterment, what will be good. I will think about only that. So my thinking and the university founders thinking and the university vice chancellor's thinking is not same, and this is my point. But in democracy, this is same. I mean, whatever I say and whatever this vice chancellor or whatever the chancellor or whatever the founder, they think, democracy says, okay, all are equal. This is not equal, man. This is insane. If you say that this is equal, this is not equal, and we should not consider it equal. This is insane. I mean, in terms of respect, I have respect for everyone. I will say definitely everyone should get the basic, all the things. We should treat people as people. We should treat everyone as kindness, compassion. I'm okay with that. But when it comes to the opinion, everyone is not same. So here it says that. So there is another thing. The behavioral, emotional evolution, the behavioral economists and evolutionary psychologists have demonstrated that most human decisions are based on emotional reactions and heuristic shortcuts that rather than on rational analysis. And while our emotions and heuristics were perhaps suitable for dealing with life in a Stone Age, they are hopefully inadequate in the silicon age. So there he is trying to make a point that most of our decision is actually coming from our emotion and reaction on emotional reaction and heuristic shortcuts. So sometimes people make the decision just okay, this is that, okay, do it this. Many people do not do the background calculation for which decision is actually correct. Then we have the other things. Then I have the other things in this page number 218. How Homo sapiens became a very or came to the top of the list. I mean, if you agree that this is the top, the reason is human being can work together. I mean, a huge amount of people, individual, can work together in large groups. As we can work together, then that's why this is the secret of our advancement. There is another thing that sometimes we think that we know a lot of things, but actually we don't know a lot of things. Actually, we know very little. We think we know a lot, even though individually we know very little, because we treat knowledge in the mind of others as if it were our own. Sometimes some people knows this, and we feel like we also knows that. Actually, we do not know that. And there are some funny, interesting tests also to prove that you know very little. I know very little, actually, and we know very little. Every individual knows very little. I mean, we actually then add up to these things to improve our situation. Then we have the other things. This is he was talking about the global warming and about the global warming. He have some nice little points. This has to be. This is a global problem. So he is trying to make the point that this global problem needs global solution. And this actually takes us in another place as well. This is another interesting thing, I think, in this page number. This is page number 221. You need to experiment with unproductive paths. I mean, how we can learn something. He is talking about that now. You need to experiment with unproductive paths to explore dead ends, to make space for doubts and boredoms, and to allow little seeds of insight to slowly grow and blossom. If you cannot afford to waste time, you will never find the truth. So to find the truth, we must have some time. We must have some time to waste, because waste means this is not wasting in that way, but we have to look at different places for the truth, because truth is, he is actually saying what happens if we don't waste our time. If you really want truth, you need to escape the black hole of power and allow yourself to waste a lot of time wandering here and there on the periphery. Revolutionary knowledge rarely makes it to the center, because the center is built on existing knowledge. So if you really want some revolutionary knowledge, you need to search it in the periphery. And for me also, this is, I mean, from my personal experience also, this is true. Sometimes if I don't understand a concept, then if I read, I don't understand it. But when I start looking at different sites, when I start wasting time on that topic, then I read this book, that book, something in the internet, something in some blogs, then all of a sudden in some, let's say, in some very unpredictable place, in some corner, all of a sudden I see two sentences like this is this, that's why this is this. And all of a sudden I realize, like, now I understand it. So this 3 sentence was the missing, was the gap in my understanding in my brain. So now I understand it. So basically, but I was looking here, there, these books, some in some good books, in some bad, in some like normal books, regular books, or whatever is available in public. Then all of a sudden, I sometimes I find the actual gaps in some insignificant place. So we need to have the time to wonder, to waste, to find. This is true for my, I mean, I'm talking about the knowledge gap, because sometimes when I don't understand something, that means I have some knowledge gap there. I'm not looking for revolutionary knowledge, revolutionary idea. But if you need some revolutionary idea, if I need some revolutionary idea or knowledge, then actually I have to work the same way. He is trying to make the point. This point he is trying to make. I think this is kind of a good argument, and this is true as well. Let me check once again. Yeah, I was checking like if the video is continuing, because sometimes I mean, this also happened. I was talking, and when 1 hour finished, and I went to see the recorder, see the video, and it was like video. There was no video there. I mean, maybe I pressed it somewhere, but for some reason there was no video. I mean, I pressed it. So, and also sometimes in the recorder, short of memory, short of battery. So yeah, sometimes videos all of a sudden stops. So that's why I was checking. Anyway. Then I have some other things here. Oh, this is a good point actually. This is a good point actually. This was very. I mean, this example. He was giving an example about the Hitler and Nazi state, Germany at the time. he has given in the page number 226. He gave a very amazing example. Suppose you are a very good person, very good, and you think everything you are doing is so perfect, so good, that and you feel really satisfied inside. I mean, it's a bit raining outside, that's why. So you feel really good inside, because you think you are a good man, and actually you are doing very good things, and you are very attentive to your work, you are doing your duties properly, you go to your job, and you do it 100% fine. So his example is, in the Germany in the late 1930s, let's say a local post office manager might be an upright citizen let's say you are a postman during the World War in Germany. His example is this. And you are a postman, you are doing your job 100% correct, you are not killing anyone, you are not doing any kinds of wrong things in your life, and you go to your post office and you do your job like 100% precisely every morning, early morning, and then whenever your work hour is finished, you leave, but you do everything like the top-notch finest work you provide, and you feel like you are 100% honest person, and other people maybe are killing the people, and maybe they are doing wrong, but you are not at all. But what is the problem here is, you are a good man, you are an honest man, you are a very obedient, obedient means obedient to yourself and your work. But the thing is, maybe as a postman, the entire government, he has given this example, maybe at that time Hitler is spreading all his letters, all his information via you. You are carrying all this propaganda, all this killing mission. You are actually carrying the information, whom to kill, what to kill, whom to attack or take, and then kill them in some chamber or blah blah blah. So you are carrying all this information. You are actually doing all these things. Whereas you think you are 100% honest, you are 100% good, you are 100% loyal to yourself, but you are actually carrying all this modern and all this very uh, very unsettling, very disturbing information you are carrying, and you are spreading all these things, even though you are so much good person, you are a so much good person, you are a so much honest person, and even though you think you are the most divine person of all time, but you are, other people are using you to do their evil task, and you are actually doing that unknowingly. So, and at this present time also, sometimes you are doing some job in some other places, and you think you are so naive and you are so good and you are so innocent and blah blah blah, but maybe other people is using you to execute their evil-minded agenda, and we need to be careful about this. This is a very good example, I think, and this is true for even the other side of the coin also. I mean, this is true for other side of the coin also. I mean, he gave the example about the Hitler, about the Germany, about the postman there, but this is true in many other cases. Maybe you are honest, maybe you are very good, maybe you are very innocent, but the work you are doing is, maybe you do not know, you are ignorant about that, and other people are using you to do very unsettling, very disturbing, very very bad thing, and you are just a part of that, although you think you are so innocent, you are so good. Oh, then in the page number 243, I have this. This is actually not new to me. This, oh my God, I need to share it to all of you, and I think for me also, this is also. I for last maybe about 10 years or more than that, 10-15 years or more than that, I do not watch television. I do not watch any kind of news presented in the television. I rarely read newspaper, and newspaper means rarely read means I do not buy it and I do not read it regular basis, but sometimes I get the news from different sources and then cross it. I mean, his point is also that he was trying to make that point that when you get the information, you need to check the source. You need to check it, like from which source you are getting the information, and is this information is this information is biased or something like that. My reason was also same. When I stopped watching the news, television, I stopped watching television in general because it is wasting my time, and also I stopped watching news in the television because I found that these are biased. I stopped reading the news in the newspaper because one day this came to me like a very vivid truth that most of the newspapers, I mean all the newspapers, just kind of bullshit, because one solid event happened at that day. I'm just giving you that example from which day I stopped reading the newspaper. One incident happened, and then I read the news about that incident in, let's say, 10 different newspapers. So, and frustratingly, I found this newspaper is saying this is the thing what happened there, and this is the implication, this is the conclusion, and this is what it means. This newspaper is saying this happened, and this it means, this is the conclusion, and this is where it goes. This newspaper says, and I found all the newspaper is saying different thing. Even in the description of the incident, observation was different in different newspaper, and I was like, holy shit! Like, I cannot go there to check what actually happened there, right? I cannot go there, so I cannot now. I will never know which newspaper is correct here. No, this is, I mean, you may say like, okay, there are some trusted newspaper, news agencies. Let's say in our country we have Prathamalo and the Daily Star. These are the very highly popular newspaper here. And if you are in USA, let's say Washington Post, New York Times, and other things, I mean, even some weeklies, some dailies. You may say these are the highly respected, or news for news, CNN and other blah blah blah, whatever the sentence. You may say like, oh my god, they are really, really good. And in many cases, even from subcontinental news channels, news portals, I mean, this is my personal opinion. Maybe 99% of the information is biased. 99%. I'm 100% sure. I personally am 100% sure about that. 99%, 99, maybe 99.99, I should say. 99% news, information's opinion is biased. All the newspaper is publishing the news just because they like it, and just because they view the situation in that manner. Just because they think this situation is, this incident is important, that's why they are publishing it there. And just because they think this is the way, this way the news should go, that's why they are publishing it that way. And other newspaper agencies are thinking it in another way, and so they are publishing it another way. My point is, what is the truth? Where is the truth? And how can I know the truth? And I found I can never find the truth this way, because they are trying to convince me to believe them. All these 10 newspaper at that day I was trying to read, they are trying to convince me to believe them, and they are trying to make their plan bigger by taking me there. And this is true. You will see the people in my country, the people who read Prathamalo, they read Prathamalo for a longer period of time in their life. Who read some other newspaper, they read their newspaper all of their life. And there are some newspapers owned by this dominated by this political group. This newspaper is dominated by this political group, this newspaper is dominated by this political group. So basically these all news are coming from their political views and political agendas as well. This is 100% bullshit. If you are reading some newspaper and you think this is the truth, this is not the truth. You have been fed some bullshit and you are just saying that this feels good. Okay, this is not truth. You can read whatever you want. You can read whatever you want, but don't say that this is truth, and don't say that this is the only path, because this is not the only path and this is not the truth. This is the path and truth that has been represented to you, that has been given to you. This is not true. Okay, so you have to be skeptic about all the news, about all the information that you get everywhere. You have to be skeptic about that. Even, trust me, when you read some books, you have to be skeptic about that. You have to do some fact check. You have to do some cross check. Like, okay, I know this, I got this information, this, now I have to do the cross check. Or else, your entire life will be a wrong life. Your entire life to be a pointless, meaningless life. Because I can give you many examples where people have lived their life in some wrong, meaningless, pointless way, and their views, their opinion is just kind of garbage. Now you can ask, like, now how do you know that this is garbage? By cross-checking. If you do the cross-check, then you will see what is correct, or if this is not correct. Simply, if you do the cross-check, then you can say this is not correct, because there are many ways to do the fact-checking. There are many ways to do the cross-checking. Then you can just cancel out some opinions, some views, some numbers. Okay, and also sometimes you can see the things in the first hand. So for example, I'm good at maths, I'm good at physics. So if somebody is saying that this is the Newton's law of motion, and I already know this is not Newton's law of motion, then I already know this he is saying some garbage, and he is trying to convince everyone that this is the Newton's law of motion. Maybe this is some law of motion, but this is not Newton's law of motion that he is saying. So this news and this television is wasting our time, that's for sure. But about the news, now you can say, okay, then what we will do? From which news? What news we will then see? And then whom we will believe? I have no answer to that, but I have my own personal strategy to that. How I get news, how I get information, and how I do the checking, fact checking. Before fact checking, I never look at any issue. I never talk about that, and I never believe it even. I do not believe. Even if I read something in some very good book also. Before I see the same thing in many books, many authentic, I mean, very trusted publisher, I never believe that. Even I read the same thing in some book, in some good publisher also. If I say, let's say Cambridge University Press, if I read some information there, and if I don't see it in some other university press or other some really trusted publisher and high profile writer, if I don't see the both of the things is coinciding, I never 100% believe that. So I'm highly skeptic about all these things, because I need to be skeptic about that, because this is people are biased. 100% people are biased. This is true. Maybe you do not believe it, but this is true. 100% people. I mean, 99% I said. So let's stay there. Although this 99% is just some number that came out of me and out of my mind, and it's not statistical data, but I'm personally 100% sure that all the people are biased, and maybe I am also biased to some extent, but I'm biased, but I'm highly skeptic, and so this actually justifies that my biasness is not concrete. People's biasness is concrete. If you argue with some people, you will see they are talking about their opinion, their thinking. They are trying to impose it on you, whereas maybe they are wrong. They don't think about that. But if you meet with some skeptic people, then you will see they are always open to learn something new, and they want some new knowledge, new information, etc., etc. I mean, if you really want the truth, you have to be skeptic about these news agencies, about the television channels, their news. Trust me, 100%. I mean, 99% of the time you will see this news and that news is different. Sometimes you will see the tone is different. Same incident, but these people means that this is what it means, and this people means that this is what it means, and both is like sometimes 180 degree opposite of each other. So which one you will believe? Which path you will follow? That's a big question. That's a very big thing. So you have to be very careful about this. Oh, there is another one thing, another really good points here. This is on page number 249. In this page number, you will see about this bias. So you see about this bias, he is actually trying to make another point. When you see a lot of in your childhood, say you have seen a lot of thing in the television, in different places, you have seen a lot of program, a lot of channels you have seen, and then what happens when you see a lot of, let's say you have seen a lot of Hollywood movies or some Bollywood movies or some other movies from some other countries. What happens is this: if you think you can press some delete button and wipe out all the traces of Hollywood from your subconscious and limbic system, you are deluding yourself. If you think you can delete all the things that you have seen in your Hollywood movies or Hollywood any sources, if you think you can delete it, you cannot delete it. If you think you can just delete your Indian movies, Indian culture that you have seen a lot of times in your childhood, in your adulthood, then if you think you can just all of a sudden you can adapt now in some other system, this is not true. You cannot delete it. You cannot delete it. Your subconscious mind will keep it, because there is no delete button like delete it. This is not computer. This is some organic system, and you cannot do it. You cannot erase things. This will come automatically. So it means whatever you are watching now today, or whatever you have watched for hundreds and thousands of days, if you have lived that long, or of course you have lived 1,000 days means not too much. It's just 3 and 4 years or more days. I mean, let's say 20 years, 30 years. You have seen you have seen a lot of pattern movies, news programs, then different series episodes. It will have some very solid system. It will make in your subconscious mind that will influence your decision making. That will influence your other the way you view the world, and the way you analyze the things, your critical reasoning ability, your critical thinking, everything will be influenced by that. That's the point. So this is how things are biasing us. Things are actually taking us in different places. Yeah, there is another. This is, I think this new point is a bit complicated. The problem is that the mind that imagined the robot. I mean, this is another thing. Like biotech, say you make some robot, and then robot is working against you. Then you kill that robot. Then you thought, okay, now I'm free. So he's saying the problem is that the mind that imagined the robot in the first place was already the product of earlier manipulation. Hence, killing a robot will not free us. That's I mean, I can explain that, but that's another point of view. For example, when you make a robot, why do you make it? Because you are thinking it, first of all, and this thinking is coming from one type of manipulation. There is some manipulation happening in your mind, and that manipulation is leading you think that I will build a robot. Then you have built a robot. Then you saw something is bad about this robot, and then you killed that robot. And then you thought, okay, now I am free. But you are not free, because your thinking, your manipulation is still in your head. So you are not free. That's the problem. This is how the manipulation works. In the page number 252, there is a very, I love this sentence. This is this sentence. I will just read the sentence. There are some other sentences around it. Indeed, Huxley's genuine consists in showing that you could control people far more securely through love and pleasure than through fear and violence. So if you want to control people, you have to control them using love and pleasure instead of violence and fear. So Huxley actually made this point, and I think this is a very good point and good life lesson as well. I mean, if you really want to do something, do it. I mean, this is also kind of not that pleasant, because if you really want people to do something for you, then you are manipulating them. But still, by using fear and violence, love and pleasure is better, and I think that works also better. Then he says in the this is 262 page number. He says he talks about what will be the future of humankind. I mean, as artificial intelligence is coming, big data is watching, and robots are coming to the work field, and robots are taking the works of humankind. What human being can then do? So he's saying, so what should we be teaching? For example, a teacher, what should we teach to the students? What kind of skills these students needs in the future to survive well? So he says that what should we be teaching? Many pedagogical experts argue that schools should be switching to teaching the 4 C's. 4 C's. Number one, so these C's are critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. More broadly, schools should downplay technical skills and emphasize general purpose life skills. So he's saying, for example, now many universities, many schools are working on the working on the technical skills. They are making them technical experts. So his point is, maybe if in the future technical experts will be needed less, and creative workers will be needed more. I mean, creative workers will be needed more. So his point is that we need to work on that sector to be smart after, let's say, 20 years, 30 years 40 years, 50 years from now on. Because this is true that many fields is already overtaken by the technology, by the robot, by the internet, by the program, by the coding. So many fields are already have been taken. The coding is now doing a lot of data analysis. Coding automatically does this, so you don't need any kind of statistics graduate to go there. You can say that okay, but we need some people to write the program. Yes, we need, but we need very less amount of people to write it. Okay, very less amount of people we need. Then there is another thing that in the page number 268. This is also very interesting quote. To run fast, don't take too much luggage with you. Leave all of your illusion behind. They are very heavy. So he is trying to say that leave all of your illusion behind. Everybody have lots of illusion in their mind, in their head, and they have their all this illusion. You have to leave. You have to say just goodbye. Just get out of my mind, or I don't want you anymore. And then you have to move on in terms of your thinking. If you say in terms of your, if you take it in literal meaning, this is also true. If you want to go somewhere and if you take a lot of luggage, this will slow down. Okay, you have to leave some of the luggage. You just need only the most important, most valuable thing with you. You cannot take all the shits or the garbage with you. This is not good. This is not working. So leave all of your illusion behind. They are very heavy. This is true. And sometimes this is funny. Some people, they see the physical luggage. They do not see the mental luggage. There is some luggage in your head. There is some luggage in your brain. There is some luggage in your subconscious system, and that subconscious system is very dangerous for you. Very dangerous, because that subconscious system is actually shaping your future. And if you have so many bullshits there, so many garbage there, all that garbage is actually resisting you to go where you want to go, resisting you to reach where you want to reach, resisting you to get what you want to get. That subconscious garbage is actually resisting you to do that, because you have different types of odds system, different types of codes. I will say different types of, like you think, okay, this is true, this is true, this is true, this is true. This is the prejudice, superstition, this kind of thing. I think just in one word, just leave it. Okay, just leave it. Don't believe it, because this superstition, this prejudice is not good. Okay, and these are already have proven false, because there are many examples. There are many examples to that. Suppose the idea of the ghost. Many people still believe that the idea of the ghost, and that's why they are living a so funny life. Human being still believes the ghost. Can you believe it? Human being still believes the astrology. They put a big ring in their hands. Then they put a lot of astrological stones in their hand, and they think like this stone will help them. What kind of bullshit is that? And then this is insane. In this modern era, when artificial intelligence is so strong, when we have this very biotech is coming, infotech is coming, already this is on the market. And at that time, if you believe in superstition, at that time if you believe in prejudice, social or whatever it is, then if you believe in this kind of ghost, if you believe in astrology, then this is really pathetic. You can believe whatever you want, but this is pathetic. If you believe in astrology, if you think that this star is watching at me and this star is going to help me to achieve my life goal, this is bullshit. Trust me, because there are tons of people, and you think this star is going to help these people, right, to achieve their goal. This is astrology. What is this? This is nonsense, simply nonsense. This is not true. Then this is not true. This is simply not true. Just don't go there. You can go there, but that's because this is your life. You can choose what stone you want to put in your hand, but At least, at least once in your life, ask yourself, is this stone really helping me? Okay, ask yourself. I tested it personally. I'm not saying it like out of nowhere. I tested all these theories by myself personally. That is this really working? I found these are not really working. Okay, this is true. If you want, you can test yourself. Okay, put this someday in your hand, and then don't put it some other day in your hand, and see it if it is working, if it is putting, if it is giving you any kind of difference. Sometimes subconsciously you feel maybe I am getting some difference. Then look at it in a very critical way, because sometimes subconscious mind actually influence you, manipulate you to believe that this actually works, but actually you have to be highly pragmatic about this, highly critical about this, highly logical about this. This really is it really true? Is the conditions is true in all the days? Situation was true, physical factors are true, all these cases. Then you will see the truth will come to you, and I'm sure you will see these all are just garbage. You will see this doesn't work. Trust me, this doesn't work. It never worked. Many people I read in some article, I'm not sure about it. Now you see, I'm still a skeptic about even the statistics also. I found even in USA, 30% of the people starts their day by reading the astrology of that day. In US, which is, I mean, I'm not sure if it is true, but if it is true, this is insane. I mean, 30% of the people start their day by reading the astrology, what their day will be, in terms of some star, some moon, some other thing. What is this? I mean, come on, people. This is not how your day goes. Your day goes what you do. If you do your thing this way, that way, then your day goes that way. Your days, suppose these books, I mean, some astrological people says that this is how your day is going to go. And then you start it in some different way, because you have will, you have thinking, you can do it in differently. Okay, this is true. I mean, some people says, no, if your name starts with this alphabet, say, then you will become this. These people will be. Come on, man. Suppose Barack Obama. Let's say B. His name was the first alphabet. Then show me how many other people whose name started with B became the American president, or how many people even those names started with the B have got similar posts. Let's say they become some candidate, they become some mayor in some cities, big cities, for some political giant. They become how many? Can you tell me? This is not scientific. Just trust me. This is not scientific, and this is not true even. This is not true even. But our mind is capable of making this entire system complex so well. Sometimes it actually takes us there, and it starts believing it. I read a lot of thing about astrology, and as I am a student of physics and I love astronomy, so I really tried to believe that also, to find, not believe, I tried to find some formula that I can use to predict my future, to predict the future of my friends. Then I found it is not working. Do you know how I got this is not working? Because if it works, then it should work first for me, and I will, if I know my future, if I know that in which day I should do this, and I will be successful if I do it on that day, then I can do it, right? I can do it first, because I know mathematics, I know I can do calculation, I understand graphs, I understand statistics, and I understand the motion of the stars, solar systems and planets and the galaxies. I know the Milky Way, I know the Andromeda, I know the I know the black hole, nebula, I know this, I know supernova, I know this dwarf, black star, whatever it is, name it. I just know all of them. I mean, from my point, I'm not like some super duper highly skilled someone, but I know at least better than, because I finished my graduation, post-graduation from physics, and I had this in my even syllabus in my course, this astrophysics. So I know that. I know the motion of these planets better than naive some followers or some other practitioner who just only read some cheap books and then they prescribe us. I know better than him about that astrophysics. And I once tried to link it and to find some formula that will enable me to predict the future for myself and for my friends, for my families, and for my country, or for even human civilization. I found it is not working. You know, many big scientists actually work on this kind of section, and this is not working. Okay, this is not working. You can name many big scientists that they work on this sector. I mean, astrologer will definitely do that. They will say this scientist said that this about astrology, and they also followed astrology in their life. Yes, they followed, but maybe they found it is wrong, or maybe they are also doing it wrong, because all the people do not know everything. So this is how sorry, this is how we develop our emotional senses. They hear it from their parents. So people are okay, let me read the whole a bit long paragraph here. So why do people believe in the frictions? One reason is that their personal identity is built on the story. Personal identity is built on the story. People are taught to believe in the story from their early childhood. See, they hear it from their parents, their teachers, their neighbors, their general culture, long before they develop the intellectual and emotional independence necessary to question and verify such stories. Very important. Why do we believe some stories? Why do we believe this thing? Suppose just a while ago I said about the ghost, because in the childhood these children gets the knowledge about the ghosts from their parents, from their teachers, from their neighbors, from their cultures. They don't go there. And that actually goes very deep into their heart, deep into their brain, deep into their mind, and you cannot take it out then in the future, in the later years, because long before they develop critical reasoning skills, long before they develop their questioning mentality, their intellectual and emotional independence, long before they develop it, intellectual and emotional independence, they actually already started believing, already started going through all these things. So that is the reason, that is the main problem, why some people are so much reluctant to not believe in ghost, or they don't want to let their belief go away. They still believe it. It's, even in the astrology also, for the astrology also same, because from their childhood they heard about that. They saw their mother, their father is reading astrology in the newspaper. They saw it. That's why they said, okay, maybe this is true. That's why my father is doing. Okay, this is the truth. That's why my mother is doing. Maybe this is true. My teacher also sometimes talks about that. This is a bad day for him. How come this is a bad day for you, man? I mean, day is not bad. Sometimes you have done some shit. You haven't done something right. That's why the day ended in some misery for you. This is not due to luck. I mean, you have done something wrong. That's why that you have got some wrong reflection. This is not day, but our belief works this way. Ritual is a magical act that makes this abstract concept abstract concrete and the friction real. The essence of ritual in the magical spell hocus pocus X is Y. So the context is, I should read from the another. Already thousands of years ago, priests and shamans discovered the answer: ritual. I mean, how you can make people believe things. Okay, how you can make people believe things. So the answer is, already thousands of years ago, priests and shamans discovered the answer: ritual. Ritual is a magical act that makes the abstract concrete and the friction real. when you do something, then you start believing it. You understand? Suppose when you start putting on the ring in your hand, you start believing on it. Okay? So when you do some ritual, when you do something, I have better example, but this is taking me in a lot of other places, and I don't want to go there. That's why I'm not giving that example. But the thing is, the truth is, all the thing is actually based on the ritual. Okay, if you do a lot of ritual, then basically you will start believing it more. Okay, even if you look at the Confucius theory or philosophy, you will see in the Confucianism there are many rituals in his system, and that's why there are many people who support him. Okay, but if Confucius theory was just only philosophy, you would have seen like now many people is not his follower. Okay, the ritual actually is the main is the key protagonist here. Ritual is doing the main thing here. I can explain this from different examples also, but I think this self-explains the thing. Ritual, if you think why these people is believing that, see, these people is observing some ritual. That's why he is believing that. Another one is suffering in the world because indeed the very cost of lack that rituals makes effective of the rituals blah blah blah. Because all the things in the world, suffering is the most real. Okay, suffering is the most real thing in the world. Suffering is the most real thing in the world. He has given many examples also. We also can give other examples for this also. Why suffering is most real, and this is a very sad in some sense, very pathetic in some sense, but the truth is pleasure is not real, suffering is real. I mean, pleasure is also one thing, but pleasure is not cannot be a good test for what is real and what is not. But suffering is the good test to understand what is real and what is not. Suppose you have $1 million. Now this is in the bank, so you cannot see it. Then is this money is real? I mean, this is some number written in the computer, or this is some number written in your page. This is real because you can go and make it, you can cash it. This is real because if you do not have that money, I mean, if someone takes that money from you, then you get hurt. Okay, so you suffer inside if the money is not with you anymore. That's why this money is real, because you suffer. Then suppose, I mean, Noah actually gave some more nice examples. Suppose your country, let's say my country, Bangladesh. Bangladesh is real. Do you think Bangladesh have any feelings? Bangladesh do not have any feelings. Bangladesh cannot feel. But the people of Bangladesh is real, because people of Bangladesh suffers. If anybody attacks Bangladesh, we the people suffer. That's why we are real. Not Bangladesh is not real. Okay. So what is real and what is not real is a good test is suffering. If you suffer from something, then that thing is real. If you don't suffer from something, that is not real. There's a test. And suffering is most real thing. If you suffer for anything in life, that thing is most valuable in your life. Suppose some people suffer for getting money, some people suffer for getting education, some people suffer for getting good girls or good handsome boys. If you suffer for whatever the subject, you suffer for that is the most real thing in your life. You will see, you will value that the most if you suffer for that the most. This is the test. So suffering is the main test. Suffering is the most real thing. Uh, then we have then oh my god, that's another one interesting. I mean, there are some there are some examples about the Ashura and Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, about the Ashura Karbala thing, and people, how the people suffer and then they make it real. So about that example, I think many of you knows that example. That's why I'm just not going for some elaborate description about this. But I have found something interesting here, and this is in the page number 291. In this page 291, you will see this is very important. A Hindu may engage in tax frauds, visit the occasional prostitute, and mistreat his elderly parents. This is true not only for only Hindus, it is true for all. A Hindu may engage in tax frauds, visit the occasional prostitute, and mistreat his elderly parents, but then convince himself that he is a very pious person, because he support the destruction of Babri Mosque at Ayodhya, this is Ajodhya maybe, and has been donated money to build a Hindu temple in its state. So just as in ancient time, so also in the 21st century, the human quest for meaning all too often ends with a succession of sacrifice. You see in the couple of lines what he said. Maybe that person is doing some tax frauds, he's going for the prostitute, he's mistreating his elderly parents, but he is convincing by donating some money to the religious organization and by accepting the sense that the Babri Mosque destruction is correct, and by joining that movement, he is convincing himself that he is very pious person, which is kindly. I mean, if you look at other systems, other political religious systems, if you look their different fanaticism, then you will see this is true in many cases, that this is how people prove themselves they are pious, although their entire life is full of really bad things. Really, I mean, they take bribes from the people. They then they're the reason for many people's sorrows, many people's pain. They're actually putting other people's life in danger, other people's life in problem. Then they're earning money by that, and they're having fun with that money, and they're donating this money to the mosque, for our case to the temple, for Hindus case for pagoda, or for some church, or for some whatever is their point is. My point is, really, I mean, there are definitely many religious people, and they are good, and they really follow the religious paths, and they follow it in this sphere of life. But this is an example which illustrates that there are some frauds also, and I think many of you also know some frauds who are religious frauds, who you will find them in every religion. Okay, they are religious frauds, and you will find them in every religion. They actually have some mask of religion, and they are doing the bad thing within that mask. I think many of you have also seen this kind of people there as well. Then we have some other part. This is page number 298. It says, nothing is beautiful, sacred, or sexy, but human feelings makes it so. It is only human feelings that make a red apple seductive and a tart disgusting. Take away human feelings, and you are left with a bunch of molecules. What do you think? If you feel something is beautiful, something is sacred, something is sexy, this is your feelings. Your feelings is making it so. Then in the page number 300, It says, what's true of sexual desire is the true of all desire, and indeed of all feelings and thoughts. Just consider the next thought that pops up in your mind. From where did it come from? Did you freely choose to think blah blah blah? So he's saying kind of things. I don't want to explain this kind of thing because okay, let me say a few words more. Yeah, sexual desire is one of the hardest desire, one of the deepest desire of any kind of living organism. I mean, let's say human being. Let's not go too far. Oh, the national flags is the point. What he's saying, not so important. I mean, not so important means he's talking about the suppose national flag, your national flag, my national. We all have a national flag. This is some piece of clothes, right? Why do we respect it so much? Because different ritual makes it so. Okay, because we have seen that our president, our prime minister, or our major general, the head of the army, head of the navy, they also respecting this piece of paper. That's why all these rituals actually makes all of us to respect the flag. This is true for every country. The ritual makes it respectable. Suppose instead of this flag, if you put another piece of paper and if you color it, paint it, or design it in some other colors, then if everybody respect that color, then you will start respecting that color. Basically, all that rituals is making it so. This is very important, and this is also very important things. You should be careful about that. Even if somebody disrespects some. I mean, this is also the reflection of the thing also. So this is also the reflection of the obedience and other things also. So we cannot go to the other side in this case. I mean, if the flag is not this one, the other one, then it has to be the flag of that country. But what makes us respect is the ritual. That's the point. So there is a saying about the 304 page. What should I do? Ask people, and the Buddha advise, do nothing, absolutely nothing. The whole problem is that we constantly do something. Not necessarily on the physical level. We can sit on immobile for hours with closed eyes, yet on the mental level we are extremely busy creating stories and identities. So always we are doing something. We cannot sit somewhere and do nothing. We always do something. Everybody is doing something. So in this page he is saying that, like, we need to be highly we need to be, like, in anthropology class, what we learn we learn how to examine something. In anthropology class, what we learn. In physics class, what we learn, mostly we learn the system, process, how to do the experiment, how to what are the facts about physics, and how to examine some theories, how to determine that this theory is correct or not, that theory is correct or not, how to understand that. This is what we learn, the process. Basically, if your education is good, then you will learn the process, not the just only some cramming some factual knowledge. If you memorize a lot of factual knowledge, if you cram a lot of things, then basically this is not your education. You should learn the system, how to learn something. I mean, how in your field you should know that kind of thing. So just a second. Alright, this is still continuing, I guess. I just checked if the video is still ongoing, because sometimes I feel like video is not ongoing. So anyway, so the system, the process is the thing that we really need to learn, and the process is the main thing. So in anthropology class also, so the system is the thing that we need to learn. Even in the last chapter, is about the meditation. So he thinks like meditation gives a lot of answers, and meditation lets us to look inside our system. Meditation helps. And also Noah Harari, Yuval Noah Harari, he also in his practice, in his personal life, he also follows the rules of meditation, and he does it in many cases. He does it, and he constantly says that this actually gives him the truth, or look at the big picture. He actually tells about that. I haven't done that meditation in many level, but I also have my system to look at the big picture and to look at the system. My system is a bit different, but this also is kind of meditation. I mean, if you really want to look in your heart, in your mind, then you have to do the meditation in any form. My meditation is different. Noah Harari's meditation is different, and maybe your meditation will be different. But let me explain this thing to you. Don't like. I mean, my meditation. I mean, you may think like, okay, then you are doing also meditation, so I will also go to some company and do the meditation. But don't do it this way unless or until you really find it useful or working, because there are some frauds who are making their business by using this meditation, which do not helps you to look into your eyes. They just give you some rituals. Your meditation must give you some deep insights about your life, about our life, about our future, everything. Your meditation should help us this way. Your meditation should not be some rituals, just like sit like this, blah 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 blah. This is not the meditation. This should not be the meditation. What they are doing, this is insane. This is funny. This is funny to me. I mean, you should be able to see inside if you really do the meditation, and if you must be able to see the future. I mean, Noah Harari is doing his meditation in one way, and I think he found his truth, and he has a point. But even if you don't do meditation, if I don't do meditation, I have to think. Sometimes most important thing is maybe not the meditation. Maybe most important thing is to think. Okay, at least 10 minutes in a day, at least 20 minutes, at least half an hour. You must think about the things that happening around you, or many other factors that is relating to you, that is relating to your life, that is relating to you, everything. You must think about that. Thinking is very important. Okay, even if you cannot do the meditation well, you can start thinking about this. And our brain actually always thinks. Our brain always thinks. So just try to divert your brain to think on a topic, on some specific problem. Then your brain will try to find the answer. And this is the beginning, I think, from my point of view, this is the beginning of meditation. Okay, just stay quiet, think about a problem, and then start trying to find the answer. You will see your brain will automatically find the answer. Your brain will tell you these are the missing information that brain needs to give you some answers. So this is how the brain meditation and other thing works. I think I should end here and my conversation. This my speech talks, or whatever you call. I think I should end it here. And at this point, I want to thank a lot of people. I mean, just thank you so much for watching. If you are really watching it, if you really came this long, and I'm sorry to waste your time if you think your time is wasted. It could be. There is a chance for that as well. And if you learn something new, this is my pleasure. And always is good to read the book. If you really have some books in your mind that I should read, just you can just tell me. I'll try to read. Actually, I already ordered some new books to read, and I'm not sure how it is now. In the library, this is coming. They said they're bringing it. Most probably, they don't have this book in my country, even in the whole country. So they have to bring it from abroad. That book is The Great Transformation. The name of the book is that, and this is about the Confucius and other philosophical aspects, which is similar to this book. And I really want to thank some people at this point, and that is my friend Professor Herman Shelton. He is from Italy. He is now in Japan. He is very uh, very very sophisticated, very efficient, very and very detail oriented. He is really a wonderful person as well, and very and he's a diplomat, so he's highly diplomatic on many topics, many issues, and then he is a wonderful guy also, wonderful friend also, and uh, then I want to thank Judith from Netherlands, and she is really one of my very big source of my inspiration. She helps me to understand the understand everything from different sense, from different angles, and to be constructive about the things, and to be patient, and how to be practical, uh, about the systems, and not to worry uh, about the system, and to adapt within the system, and the necessity to adapt within the system, and some practical, some real solid solid system that I can follow to overcome my personal thinking process, or the thing that I said, like our child, like all the system, like this is kind of deep. This is kind of deep psychological thing, so that she helps us to help me to. I mean, not intentionally. She wrote a lot of thing about. She writes a lot to me. Sometimes I also write a lot to her, and then I understand actually from her writing, because she's highly talented, highly educated, and she is she is one of the world topmost university. I mean, within the world 100 topmost university, within the world's 60 topmost university, she's a professor. So most of her words are very very clear and very instructive. So, and I follow this, and she is really really amazing person as well. And we have I have constant communication with Haman Shelton and Judith, and both of them are really amazing. I want to thank Noman Uddin, Mr. Noman Uddin, Noman. He is my senior friend, and he is also a source of amazing inspiration. And I mean, we communicate daily basis, and we talk about all these philosophical points and different things about the world, universe, psychology, to everything. I mean, we talk on everything, and this gives me inspiration to read. And another person who helped me to, who actually instructed me to read this book in particular, is Anjan Devnath, my friends and colleague. They are also good, so I want to thank them as well. And also I want to thank my friends. A lot of my friends help, always inspires me to read. My seniors, some of the other seniors also always inspire me to read. And my colleagues, my friends, my family people, and my seniors, I mean, who are not my friends and colleagues as well, my seniors, they, although verbally, with some people sometimes I do not talk, but still they are also my source of inspiration, and they are kind of lighthouse to me. And there are many people of this kind also. I don't want to name them, because I think this should be secret. And also sometimes some people I talk, and they are also my huge source of inspiration. I'm sorry to continue it to this long. Most importantly, I think really this is most importantly, most notably my students. I really indebted to them. My students are really amazing, and they always force me to read a lot, to read more, and they push me, they ask me questions, critical questions, difficult questions, and then this lead me to read more and more and more. And they are also a huge source of inspiration. My students are really, really smart. They are highly smart. They are highly smart. They are really good, amazing students I have. I really have amazing students. My past students, they were also really good. I'm not sure why. I'm really extremely lucky to have such a wonderful students in my this this short career, I should say. They were really amazing, and this I really admire them. I'm really proud of them as well. At this point, I think I should stop. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, and have a blissful day. Bye bye.